All right. Why don't you start? You do the first one, and then I'll do one, and then you do one, and then I'll do one.
Yeah, so okay.
I wonder how loud that is in the recording.
Hi. Welcome to Star Stories and Life. I know we've been on a hiatus, but we're back and we have our judgment hats on. So you know what episode this is going to be. I mean, you can literally read the title of the video. So yes, we are going to do one of our classics. I think one of the Reddit threads. Is that what they call them? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to do one of our favorite Reddit threads. Am I the asshole? Because why not? That's what we do. We judge people and we have our hats on. So yes.
We have our hats on. Yes.
So what we're going to do today is read a bunch of our favorite Am I the Asshole threads and judge people. So I'll start, as Emma said, and all right, they've stopped.
They've stopped.
So I'm going to share my first thread. The title is, Am I the asshole for not wanting to get rid of the anime body pillow that saved my marriage?
Oh. All
Yes.
right. Let's see what this is about.
And this is posted by throwaway_body pillow. So a lot of, I mean, this person's identity is a body pillow.
Yeah.
My husband and I are best friends during the day. During the day, okay. Love of my life. It's at night that's an issue. I'm a blanket stealer. I once yanked them so hard, poor hubby flipped a full 180. Hubby, for his part, is a thrasher. Bruce Lee would be jealous of the moves he pulls off while unconscious. It's a constant war between us when we fall asleep, and both of us often wake up sore and exhausted. It was starting to affect our relationship. Neither of us wanted to move to a separate bed because we liked spending our nights together. But it seemed like an inevitability. We were both crabby every morning, and we started fighting as soon as we got up. It sucked, but neither of us wanted to concede defeat and move to the other bed. Quick background, I was a huge nerd as a teenager. Full-on otaku. What is otaku?
Otaku is a Japanese word. It basically means obsessed, is what it means.
Oh.
And it's specifically when you're obsessed with like anime and manga and stuff like that.
Okay. So this person continues. One night as a joke, I brought down an old anime body pillow from the attic and plopped it down between my husband and I, declaring it our demilitarized zone. Hubby also thought it was hilarious and we named her DMZ-chan. She stayed there the whole night. It was a game changer. DMZ-chan protected me from hubby's REM-induced rampages, and she's just heavy enough that I can't yank the blankets at full speed. DMZ-chan is now a beloved part of our nightly routine. We both thought it was the funniest thing, but she legitimately helped us solve the only real issue in our marriage. One day, mother-in-law stopped by to pick something up. She got up to use the restroom, passing by our open bedroom door. You can guess what she saw. DMZ-chan, propped up in the middle of our bed, her giant, soulful anime eyes looking right back at mother-in-law. When she got back, she quickly grabbed her stuff and left, hubby and I both confused. She later mentioned DMZ-chan to hubby while they were on the phone, and it absolutely mortified him. As far as I know, mother-in-law now thinks we are deviants in a three-way relationship with a body pillow. Hubby was too embarrassed to explain, and now he wants to put DMZ-chan back in the attic. I was upset. I told him I didn't want to go back to boxing each other at night, and that DMZ-chan helped us so much in that. He agreed, but suggested we get a normal, plain body pillowcase to replace her. I felt like there was no need to spend money on something we already have, and if it really was that big of an issue, we can put her in the closet while we have company over. Hubby is firm in that she has to go permanently. I know he's embarrassed, but I feel we shouldn't have to compromise our inside jokes to appease other people. Am I the asshole?
I wouldn't say that she's the asshole. Like, yeah, her husband is having a like knee-jerk reaction because his mother made a comment. We're not sure what the comment was exactly that she made, but she was being very judgmental.
I think she
And
thought it was a sex doll or something because she didn't mention the comment, but she said something like, "Oh, they're deviants, like sexual deviants or something, having a three-way with a doll." Like, is a body pillow a sex doll? Like, not
I
technically.
mean, no, there are ones that are, but most of the time they're just pillows.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, DMC Chan. I'm trying to. She either has a Devil May Cry pillow.
What is it? Is it like a particular
It's a
kind of
it's a
pillow?
it's a video game. So the
Oh,
character on it is from Devil May Cry. Exactly which one it is, not sure, but
it's
because there's a lot of characters.
DMZ, like Seta.
DMZ. Let me
Yeah,
see.
DMZ Chan.
DMZ.
So she made
I
an
don't know what it
edit.
is then.
She made an edit and said, "Sweet bees, this blew up. Was not expecting all the attention. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone for chiming in. I admit I was being stubborn. I drove over to Target on my lunch break and bought a new cover for $10. I put it on DMZ Chan as soon as I got home. And I'm now waiting on hubby to get home so I can apologize for making him uncomfortable. DMZ Chan shall live on in our hearts and under the blanket when company's over." I think that's a good solution, don't you think?
Yeah, that's a good solution. I just wonder, like, what is the pillow filled with that it's heavy enough to not move when you're pulling on the blanket?
She just says it's a body pillow. I mean,
Yeah, because normally the ones I know of are pretty light, like the ones that are actually like that you can buy at like anime conventions and stuff like that. Is it the material in that is inside the pillow that's inside of the cover is really light. So I'm not sure exactly what she has inside of what kind of pillow she has
I
inside the pillow.
maybe it's soft, but maybe it's like really big and plushy. And
Maybe,
so when the husband is like doing karate chops in his REM sleep, maybe it's like absorbing all the violence, let's say.
perhaps.
Um, so yeah, I think it's just like really big and plushy because otherwise you're right. Like
They're not very big. Like, what are the dimensions? I make them. Hold on. Let me check my dimensions. Screw you, neighbors.
mm,
This is just gonna be part of our episode, I think.
well, sorry in advance.
Yeah, sorry, people.
I mean, you can also check like how much you can edit the stuff.
Yeah, what's the size of this? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. If I'm not mistaken, they're like 64 inches tall by like 30 something wide.
So how big is that? Like, is it your whole
It's like 2
body?
feet.
No.
It's like
Okay.
2.5 feet, something like that.
Maybe it's like fat, like
No,
broad.
they're usually really thin.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
so
if it was working for her and saved her marriage,
yeah, if
that's
it's
great.
working for them, then it's great. Like people judge, they don't understand, whatever. But like, it was an overreaction on his part, and I feel he should apologize for that. Like, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Like, we have a pillow between us because he's a thrasher and she's a blanket stealer. Like,
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. Like, eventually they're probably either going to have to sleep in different beds, which is the solution most people go with, or just she has her own blankets, which I advocate 100% for anybody in a relationship. Have your own blanket. It makes everything so much better. There's no throwing blanket when you're too hot and then the other person gets cold. It's like you have as much blanket as you need.
Do you have
And
any such bedroom issues or issues?
the only one was with the blankets because I like lots of blankets.
Mm-hmm.
I love lots of blankets. Right now it's cold, so I have 3 blankets, and 2 of them are folded in half. So that's a lot of blanket. And
Is
but
it only like a winter thing, or are you also like that
in
during
summer
summer?
I'll only have the 1 blanket.
But you like
But
blankets, right?
I like blankets. I don't like
Me
sleeping
too.
under sheets. It's too cold. And my husband, he prefers sleeping with a sheet. So he'll just sleep
Mm.
with the sheet and I'll sleep with the blankets. But the thing is that our bed is a little small for us because,
He's
he's
huge.
a big person.
Yeah.
Like he's broad and he fits the bed almost himself long.
Do you have a king size bed? Because you might need
No,
like a California king
ours is
size
a
bed.
queen. We're thinking about getting a, what was it called?
California king size.
No, there was a different one that it was like a little bit smaller than the California King.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, there's a different one. It's a something else King. I just don't remember.
There's another king? Okay.
There's an Alaskan King bed which is huge. It's a monster of a bed. After that, it's the California King, and then I think it's like either Arkansas or something like that. It's a different state king
Different
size
state?
bed, and it's not as big. And we're thinking about going
So
with that
is it
size.
like a and queen?
Kind of. Ours is a. I think ours is a California queen because when we look at other queen beds, our bed is bigger than those beds.
Yeah.
But it says it's a queen, so we're like, we don't know. But we've been thinking about
Yeah.
getting another bed so that, because right now we're sleeping sideways. So, the bed is like this, we're sleeping like this. So that there's more shoulder room. And then I
Right.
sleep in my U pillow, make
Oh
a little
yeah.
nest,
Yeah. You
and
showed
I'm
that.
just in there. And that's how I sleep.
So yeah, um I think I have the same issue because I really like blankets. I don't know if it's even a physical thing, but I love the idea and the comfort of something on me even during summer. Like usually cold, so a blanket on me, like one layer, even during summer is like not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he is normal. So he, like, if it's hot, like, he would sometimes not have like anything on him. And if it's cold, he will probably have just the blanket, just one blanket. Fine. So we do have, but we don't really fight with the blanket because I'm small and I would just like have one tug and I'll be okay. And he's also not like a big tugger or like blanket stealer like this
Mm-hmm.
woman was saying. But I think I agree with you. If you do have issues, I mean, I don't see what's wrong with sleeping in two different beds. I
Yeah.
mean, you're a couple and you shouldn't be insecure about if you don't sleep together, it's a failed marriage or something like that.
No. Like, it's
I
so
think it's
common.
ridiculous.
It's so much more common than people admit to sleep in separate beds from your spouse.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes it's like, uh, most of the time it's like, I go to bed at 8 or at 9, and he goes to bed until like midnight, and he doesn't want to wake me up, so he just goes to his own room. Or simply, I've seen some posts of people who they just want their own room.
Yeah,
And you can
that is
have
also true.
your own room, and then every now and then you visit each other's rooms. Like, there's no
Yeah, I mean,
problem with that.
I think there are some people who like to hug their partner when they're sleeping, or, I mean, that's understandable. But I think that we are easily anxious about our relationships. Like, if it doesn't fit like the norm, we are easily insecure. We are like, whoa, 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 this is not normal. Is something wrong with our
Yeah.
relationship? Why do we have two beds? And why do we have an extra pillow? Why are we using sex toys? Are we not pleasing each other? There are like we are so quick to anxiety, and
Mm-hmm.
instead of taking a step back and being like, it's okay, this is how our marriage works, with a body pillow in between us, or two beds in one room, or having a separate room, and having your own time, sometimes sleeping alone in your room, actually sometimes can be what strengthens your relationship. Because if you're always like together, I think you forget who you are sometimes. You're just kind
Yeah.
of lost in the relationship, and you're like, who am I? What am I doing? How does it feel to be alone? I think we need a balance of both, and whatever works for you, whatever, as she said, the pillow saved her relationship. Yeah, I think that can happen. And that's completely fine. Doesn't mean that your marriage is weak.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think she's definitely not the asshole. I completely agree with you. And we can make our own rules in our relationship. You don't have to be the asshole about that. Like,
Exactly.
as long as both of you agree to it, and I mean wholeheartedly, and it doesn't feel like you're compromising too much, and you don't resent the other person, I think it's cool. Whatever works, do it. No two relationship is the same. So do whatever you have to do, whatever makes you feel comfortable. So yeah, there's definitely nobody's the asshole. But I think, yeah, he might have, like, as you said, overreacted a little bit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, I think he was judging himself, because the way that your mother speaks to you can make you a bit like, it can deviate you from who you are sometimes, especially if you're really attached to our parents. Um, so yeah, I hope that the husband ultimately got around to it, because I think it's not a big deal at all. Like, you
No,
know,
it's not. It's not a big
it,
deal.
it's a pillow,
Mm-hmm.
not another person.
Exactly.
All
All
right.
right. So we're going to jump right into some actual judging, like big time judging. Like I read this one like a week ago. I know what it's about. So
Okay, tell me.
okay, so it's the title is the following: Am I the asshole for wearing a sexual hairstyle?
Okay. Is there a picture of the sexual
I
hairstyle?
will send it to you once. Okay, so boyfriend and I have been going steady for a year now. I'm somewhat nerdy and like video games. So recently, we downloaded Tekken 7 for us to play. It's a fighting game.
Yeah, I know.
I hate that game. I don't like fighting
The,
games. Anyway,
has the quality improved? Because the last
it
time I
has.
saw it, it was really bad.
It has.
Okay.
There's a picture of a character model and I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. Looks nice. I really do like how the graphics in video games have been getting better. It just looks so pretty. Anyway, I'm not the biggest Tekken fan, but I was more than happy to have something to do with him. There's this character in Tekken called Julia, and my boyfriend thinks she's hot. He said I could easily cosplay as her, which surprised me because my boyfriend normally thinks cosplay is silly. I was flattered. I thought maybe my boyfriend was implying something a little kinky. So I decided to surprise him with a Julia cosplay. A week of planning, thrifting, and sewing went by, and the outfit was complete. The day before, I started work on the hair. I have long, curly brown hair, so I cut it a little shorter, straightened it, and then braided it to match Julia's hair. About mid-length, braided pigtails.
Okay.
The next morning, I woke up and practiced the braids again. Then went to my Zoom class. I didn't really change my hair up, so I received some compliments from my classmates about how they looked in the new style. After class, I went to the store. Later, I got dressed in the cosplay, made sure my hair was nice, put on a hoodie and some sweats to cover it. I pulled my hood up to hide the hair and I got a ride over to my boyfriend's house. I texted him that I had a surprise. He opened
Okay.
the door and asked what the surprise was. So I
Mm-hmm.
told him I'd give him a hint and pulled down my hoodie. His face went red and he asked why I had my hair like that. Before I could tell him that it was for a cosplay, he started yelling and asked if I had worn my hair like that all day. He began fuming when I told him yes. He yelled at me and said that my hairstyle was inappropriate and that wearing it to my Zoom class had basically been an invitation for men to stare at me because pigtails are too sexual to wear at school. He got angrier when I slipped up and said I had worn them to the store. I tried to explain that it was for the Julia cosplay and I wanted to surprise him, but he wasn't having it. He said that I was a whore for wearing my hair in such a way. My friend told me that I'm the asshole for wearing my hair like that because the whole idea of me dressing up was based on a kinky look. Even if I wasn't trying to appear sexy and didn't wear the cosplay itself during school or in public, men who saw me were probably getting the wrong idea. My boyfriend hasn't spoken to me much since I don't understand what I did wrong. I thought he wanted this and how he's and now he's complaining my idea has made my hair shorter that my idea has made my hair shorter too, which he doesn't like. Also, he deleted Tekken 7 and says we aren't playing it anymore. Am I the asshole for wearing my hair like this and not seeing how it could be sexual on its own? I'm gonna send you the picture just so that you have.
I just Googled.
You looked her up?
I just Googled it.
Yeah.
This is the picture, right?
Yeah, that's her.
This is far from sexual. The only thing sexual in this picture, I would say, is her dress. A bit,
and
I
even
guess.
then, just like,
Even then, it's not really sexual. I mean, she has nice boobs and nice legs, but I don't think how it is sexual. Like, she's not really making a sexual pose. The pigtails are super basic. Like, I mean, this is something that schoolgirls do all the time. At least in India, people used to, like, girls used to wear their hair in two pigtails all the time, regularly. So in no way pigtails are sexual.
Yeah, I used to wear my hair in pigtails all the time.
Yeah, and if you think so, I mean, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Exactly.
Children wear pigtails normally. Adults don't. So if you think pigtails are sexual, yikes.
Get nasty.
Yikes.
Okay, one of the replies was, I was expecting to read about an updo shaped like a fully erect penis. I am disappointed.
I know. That's what I was like.
I know.
The first time you read that title, I was like, okay, I have to see the picture.
Yeah, you're like, what is this hair? Like,
yeah.
what sexual hair?
Yeah. Yeah, like, you know, like maybe she shaved her hair and the way she shaved it is like a pussy. Like a vagina or like a penis or balls or something like that. I thought it would be something of that sort, which is also not sexy. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, but then like, okay.
Like, I'm thinking, can hairstyles be sexual? Like,
I don't think so. Like, okay, so we've all heard of the like after sex hair, you know, when your hair is just all fucked up. But even then, it's like you can wake up like that. So exactly, it's also morning hair.
Exactly. So I don't think hair can be sexual. Like just the hair. Like it has to go with something.
Yeah, like unless you have a hair fetish, then it's not.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
So like,
do you think maybe he
questions? Maybe he just has a thing about the character and he reacted a lot more fiercely to the pigtails and like the whole look,
you know,
than he thought he would.
I think, I mean, the fact that he thinks that what he thinks is attractive is what everybody thinks is attractive is kind of weird because he doesn't realize that he's being weird, right? The fact that he's attracted to a character in a video game, that's weird.
Who isn't attracted to a character in a video game?
I mean,
like, some of them look nice.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is like, not everybody knows about video games. And like, for example, I didn't know. I mean, I'm not really a big video game person, but still I'm saying that a lot of people don't really play video games. And like, for him to think that when she goes out and people see her, they're like, oh, that's Julia from Tekken 7, she's being sexual. Like, that's a little far-fetched. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, I don't think that's how people will be thinking. And for him to assume that, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. It's also very selfish if you think about it. You're like, oh, everything I think is sexy is what everyone thinks is sexy, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, why would you think everybody would think like you? You know, it's
Yeah.
like, that's a little conceited, you know?
Yes, quite. It's the same thinking of the people who try to control you with their any other beliefs. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely, everybody must think like me. Let's see,
Exactly.
there's another comment. It says, not the asshole. Your friend is an asshole. Is this
Yeah.
really your friend or your boyfriend's friend?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if she was being sexual, let's say, when she
Yeah.
was out in the store, she was in the Zoom meeting, everybody looked at her and they were like, oh my God, I totally want to fuck her. So what?
Yeah, so
So
what?
what? She didn't fuck them. She was not cheating on him. She was actually doing something for him. Don't know how much she was into it, but um, so what if other people find your girlfriend attractive? Like, isn't that a compliment, I guess?
I know, right? Isn't that like the reason why you're attracted to them? Do you think you're the
Yeah.
only person?
So, yeah, I think yeah, you're right. He's very selfish about this, and it was very sexist to be like, oh, you cannot be attractive to other people, for other people. Like, that's wrong because you're my girlfriend. Like,
I hate that.
shut the fuck up.
I hate
Just
that
shut
so
the fuck.
much.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I hate
like,
that. It's
she's
so
not your possession.
possessive. It's so
Yeah.
possessive. It's a possessive way of thinking.
Especially the sexual part is what really bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think this bothers me more than the other possessive things, like, I don't like him, so I don't want you to talk to him. Like,
Yeah.
I would still consider it, but no, you cannot be attractive for other people. It's like deal breaker for me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like complete deal breaker. It's like, no, no, you cannot tell me what to wear, how to present myself. You just cannot. Like, that's
Yeah.
like such a deal breaker for
You
me.
cannot. You
You just
cannot.
can't. No, no,
And I think
no.
she did end up breaking up with him. Let me see.
Did she make any edits to the post?
There aren't any. Let me check. Hold on. I lost it. Wait. Let me see. Oh, the post was removed.
Ah,
But the last post that got like a lot of things was run far, far away. If he's that controlling over a hairstyle, he will try with other things next. The way you dress, who you talk to, etc. This is a huge red flag.
absolutely, absolutely. And the fact that it has already been a year and this is the first time, I hope this is the first time, I guess, that, she's seen him overreact like this. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Usually these red flags kind of come out in the first few months of the relationship. Better late than never, I guess. But this is definitely a very bad sign of the immaturity and selfishness of this person, of the boyfriend. He definitely needs to do some heavy introspection before he goes into another relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been possessive of other people?
When I was a teenager, I kind of was.
What
But
made you possessive? Like now when you look back, because even I used to be possessive, but not anymore. Like, so I want to ask you, like, if you think
I
about how
was
you were in the past, like,
sick.
why do you think you were insecure or why were you possessive?
I think it was very much that social idea of you and me and only me and you know,
Okay.
like, and how
That was the
how
only way to love. Like that.
yeah, like that's the only way to love, like just us and nothing more. And like back then I really had the idea, but not really the desire, but the social pressure for like the nuclear family type
Mm.
situation. And now that I'm so much older and have actually allowed myself to ask what do I want?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the only reason I want a house is so that I can live on the ground floor. Like that's the only reason. I want to be able to let my dog out
Yeah,
and watch her as she goes and
absolutely.
comes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want a yard so that I can let the cat out and she can decide if she wants to just turn around and tell me to let her back in.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But like I don't want like the family and the children and the cute little house with the picket white fence. It's too, I don't know, it's not my style. I want a house that kind of looks like what's that? Like an old English house, English cottage.
Yeah, I love cottages.
They're so
Fucking love it.
pretty.
There are
They're
so
so
many
pretty.
cottages in India because the British were there. And like there are so, I mean, I love the idea of a cottage. I have lived in one, thanks to my dad's connections. He was a state government employee, so we were able to like move to different places and stay in government cottages. It's amazing. Like I totally agree with you. Living in a cottage, having a front yard,
Oh, a
oof,
yard, just a
it's
yard.
yeah, just
Oh,
it's fucking amazing. Like that the freedom or the ability to go outside, sit on a garden chair, sip your tea and just,
judge the
look,
neighbors.
yeah, just look outside the world, whatever that is. It's so I mean just thinking I'm just imagining it and it's like wow, peaceful. Peace.
I
That's
love
that's
like
what's coming to my mind.
yeah.
Do you remember the picture you sent me? There were like this collection of little houses
Yes.
in a big field. I love that idea. Like
I
imagine
know, right?
imagine like you and I living in a colony, not a colony, but like a group of those small
Little
houses,
houses.
like a little community of ours, like Mark can
Mhm.
also have a house there or something,
Yeah.
or like maybe your sister or somebody, like just four or five
Mhm.
houses, 4 or 5 of us. And like, it's gonna be awesome. Think about it.
Mhm.
Like after work, we're just chilling with each other, or not, we're just alone with ourselves. But we have the freedom and the possibility of being in a community of like-minded people who
Mhm.
live really close to each other, who can play with each other's pets or children. Um, yeah, it's so fucking cool. I wish that that was a real concept. I wish.
Yeah. I wish it was easier to obtain.
Yeah.
That's what I wish. I wish it was so much easier to obtain, the house that you want, and whatever that house looks like and the space that you want, but that's not possible because it's so expensive.
Yeah, and I mean, we can get into like a whole
Mhm.
amount of details, but we won't. But like it's the system that we live in. It's rather houses on top of each other than houses together, like people coming together, living in a
Mhm.
community. That idea is kind of has left us, and I wish it hadn't, and we were still
Yeah.
there. And we could choose our community. I think a lot of the times we are pushed into communities like, okay, we were born into this community, so we have to be there and we have to conform. Um, so that's, I think, the downside of it. But when you can choose your community, when you can choose who you want to live with, who your neighbors are, I mean, it's utopia. But
Yeah.
I wish that was obtainable, as you said.
Yeah, I really wish it was. Like, also, can we, like, for a minute, like, just a thought experiment I want for our our listeners. How about the idea that apartments are thought of as lesser than houses, but in some places apartments are more expensive and luxurious than houses?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't know what to say. I think it really depends on the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, the cost of your house, like, okay, you have a house, mm, but in like a maybe low price neighborhood, let's say, for example, okay? But that will not be considered as good as somebody who has a big apartment, a big or a condo, in a fifi neighborhood, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Then that would be like more appreciated or like fancier or
Yeah.
more expensive. So I think it really depends on the price. But in general, yeah, people do say that houses are better. I think it's because of the independence of it. Like
True.
it's your house, you deal with it, and there are no neighbors. But you cannot avoid neighbors. There will always be neighbors, whether that, yeah, they're not on top of you, but they're right beside you. And
And
if
if
they
you
want
have no
to,
neighbors around, then you live in the middle of the woods and no one
yeah,
will know when you're murdered.
exactly. And yeah, and if they want to have like a barbecue in the middle of the night, I mean, you have to talk to them. You have to talk to them. I don't think avoiding people is possible, whether you are in a house or in an apartment. So,
Mm-hmm. Like, I would love a little cottage on like a ranch,
hmm,
and then like with friends who live like right next to the ranch, so we're all sharing like the ranch.
yeah.
So like we have animals, we have goats so that we can have milk that doesn't, hurt you, because for some reason goat milk does not activate lactose intolerance. It's great.
I didn't know that. What?
It
Really?
doesn't. It doesn't. It's only cow milk. So you can eat goat cheese and it won't give you a tummy
Makes
ache.
sense because the weight of the calf is a lot,
Yeah.
you know? Like if you imagine like the calf being born and a human being born, they are not of the same weight or stature.
No.
So, yeah, the cow milk is for the calf. It is not for the human being.
Mm-hmm.
But a goat is smaller,
Uh-huh.
you
And its
know?
milk isn't it. And
Yeah,
also
and the
you can drink goat milk like right from the teat if you feel like it. It's
yeah, yeah.
like
I haven't done that, but it
I
it makes
haven't done it
sense.
either, but I've heard that you can.
But yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, so we started talking about goat milk from sexual hairstyle. Well,
That's
that's
where our
ADHD for you.
conversations go, okay?
That's ADHD for you.
Your turn. You read one.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, so speaking of baby, uh,
Baby.
this is titled, "Am I the asshole for hiding baby food from my girlfriend?"
Wait, what?
Am I the asshole for hiding baby food from my girlfriend?
Why though?
Like so many questions. Okay. My girlfriend was getting ready to feed our 6-month-old son
Okay, now there's a reason why there's baby food. All right.
and put the food down to run to the bathroom. Okay.
As one does. It happens.
When she came back, she asked where the food and spoon went, and I shrugged my shoulders. I put it in a cabinet and laughed a little bit to myself as she looked all over for it. When she went to the bathroom to see if she set it down in there, I pulled it out of the cabinet and put it on the counter. My girlfriend came back in and looked around again and must have missed it on the counter. I pointed it out and she said, "What? I swore I looked in here already." She kept asking if I moved it and I kept saying no. She sat down and started feeding our son and randomly started crying, saying how mentally exhausted she was.
Ooh.
I started rubbing her back and confessed to hiding the baby food. She got up immediately and left our son there in the high chair. I finished feeding him, then grabbed him and asked what her problem was. She started going off about how that wasn't funny, and all I did was make her feel like she was losing her mind even more. I felt bad and told her it was just a joke, and she kept saying it wasn't funny and to leave her alone. She was honestly being pretty rude about it and wouldn't even talk to me much since then. I feel bad that she was crying, but I also feel like she was being very rude considering it was just a joke. Ooh,
Uh,
what do you think? Is he the asshole?
he's a little bit of an asshole. He's not a total asshole, but he is a little bit of an asshole because, like, the main rule of like pranks and jokes and stuff is like if both people are not laughing, it's not funny.
Right.
So it was not funny. He thinks it's funny, but it wasn't funny, and she doesn't appreciate it, and it's understandable. When you have a baby, you're so stressed you don't even know what your name is half of the time. So she like had a mini like mental break there while she was feeding her child, and yeah, he needs to apologize and give her like 1 day break every week for like ever.
I agree. I think he was being an asshole. Maybe he didn't want to be, but I wonder if he made pranks like that before, you know?
Yeah.
Like, is it like suddenly he wanted to, do this prank on her, or was it like, is it like habitual? Is it something that he does
Yeah.
often? That's what I'm
That's a
interested
good
in.
question. That's a good question.
Like, if he does it pretty often, like he does these little pranks on his girlfriend, I guess he was just being like, okay, I did this again. What's the fucking big deal? Like, I
Uh-huh.
mean, I understand where he's coming from, but if this is like out of character and he's doing that while he can see his girlfriend obviously stressed out with dealing with a child, like, how insensitive are you?
I know, right?
Like the fact that this was the straw that broke the camel's back, which means that there were a lot of things that were happening that was kind of leading up to that moment, you know?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it also seems like not only is he like he might not have intended to make her cry, but the fact that he did not see his girlfriend struggle or be like just mentally upset or depressed or exhausted, that is what is really bothering me more than the joke that he played. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Like the joke you can forgive, like, whatever. It's the fact that he doesn't seem to understand just how effective it was negatively
yeah,
to her. Like he doesn't, at least in the initial post, he doesn't seem to understand just how much she thought she was losing her freaking mind.
yeah.
Like, even though, I'm one of those people that I cannot find my glasses when they're on my face. So so if anytime I can't find something, I ask my husband to help me, and it'll be right where I already looked. So I know that that's just me, but I know that because he does, as every now and then he'll be like, it was in my pocket. I just put it there. Like as soon as as I've already found it and been like, but I looked there, and he said, yeah, it wasn't there. I had it in my pocket, and I'm just like, you're evil. And he's like,
Yeah, but
yes, I know.
he immediately said it because he
Uh
wasn't
huh.
trying to make you feel crazy,
Yeah.
which is good. So like if if you keep saying no, no, I didn't put it there, I didn't
Uh
put it
huh.
there, like you're making me feel crazy.
Yes,
No,
exactly.
like
It's
I
very
lose my mind.
very light gaslighting.
Yeah, like for me, like even if I'm not stressed and somebody did that to me, I would be very mad.
Yes, I would also.
Because as you know, I have ADHD, and this is something that is very common in like a very common thing that I struggle with, which is putting things somewhere, not remembering, or looking at the same place 2 times and still not being able to see it. This
Yeah.
recently happened to me. And yeah, it sometimes makes me feel like, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with my brain? Um, so for somebody, and that is something that I'm already insecure about. So for somebody to, play a prank like that, like, oh, it was there, it wasn't there, I swear, I mean, somebody gaslighting me, it's extremely triggering. I would
Yeah.
absolutely be so fucking mad. I mean, I don't know if she has ADHD or she struggles with anything of that sort, but the
Well,
fact
just like early mom brain is
it's
basically subtle ADHD. You don't.
exactly, it's like you're exhausted, your brain is not optimally functioning,
And you've got to
like
be remembering, okay, when did I last feed the baby? When was the last time the baby was changed? How's
exactly.
the baby's temperature? And your brain is going like, especially if it's their first child.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's the place where the baby sneezes just because baby sneeze.
Also, like, I'm not a doctor, but I've seen people, give birth and have babies, and you put so much stress. Like, your body goes through so much stress when you're having a baby.
It's traumatic.
It's traumatic, exactly. Like, your body actually goes through trauma to give birth to another person. So, wow, I can't imagine, because that's what I do it.
And that's even if things go right.
Even if things go perfect,
Like if it's a
perfect
perfect
labor,
delivery,
perfect baby.
it's still
Yeah,
so traumatic to the body. Like there's an OBGYN that I watch on YouTube sometimes.
Mama
And
Bear.
she
Is it Mama Bear? What is it? Mama. There is a very popular OBG. Is that the video that you sent me when I asked you how can somebody have their period,
yes.
their baby and
Yeah.
not know?
Yeah, her. Yeah,
Yeah,
her.
yeah. What was her
And
name? Mama Jones?
Mama Jones. Mama
Mama
Jones.
Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Mama Bear. Sorry.
Mama Bear. Well, I'm sure she appreciates that. And she's always saying when she's talking about because there are people who have very bad like deliveries and pregnancies. It destroys them physically, mentally, emotionally, and they're like petrified to be pregnant again. And she says that it's much more common than
People
we
think it is.
admit. Like,
Mhm.
and people who go through that feel like they're a failure because nobody talks about how
Yeah, because you
traumatic
feel
it
like a
is.
bad mother, right? Because you're
Yeah,
supposed to be, I'm so happy I pushed this baby out from my vagina. I feel great. Thank you very much. Okay,
yeah,
I am back to being normal again. Like, that's what people
exactly.
expect mothers to do, I guess, biological mothers. Like, I think the struggle, people don't talk about that struggle. They're
People
just
don't talk
like,
about it. And I understand why. Like if you were like told when you come of age and not old enough, you're like, okay, you have your first period. This means you're old, you are able to get pregnant. And then they tell you all the bad things. Then you're never going to have the dream of being a mother because, well, you know, what if my bladder gets destroyed?
yeah,
Like, what if the baby kicks the inside of my intestines, or like what happened to my grandmother? What if I have so many C-sections that on the last pregnancy the baby rips through my uterus and destroys my intestines?
that can happen?
That can happen. You're welcome for your birth control. But that's what happened to my grandmother, and now that she's in her 70s, she had her entire large intestine removed because of how destroyed it was. Yeah. It's my uncle's fault. He paid for the surgery. It's fine.
Oh my God.
He ended
And
up being the
people,
most successful
and
child, so it's
I don't
okay.
understand why women would go through that again and again then.
I don't get it either. Like,
You
Mama
know
Dr.
what my boyfriend
Jones.
said? He said that because after you go through that pain, your body releases a lot of endorphins.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It does do that. But not everybody gets that nice wave of endorphins at the end.
And but it's temporary. Then you have to feed
Yeah.
the baby. Then you get, I think when you feed, like breastfeed the baby, it also like your nipples get sore
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
you have
They
swollen boobs, swollen nipples, and swollen and also irritated.
they'll get red and gross. Yeah.
So, like, I think being a mother is great, but being a biological mother,
It's scary. Like there's a I'm gonna send you
no.
the link. It's a video that Mama Dr. Jones did where she's talking to a YouTuber who had a baby, but she had a really bad pregnancy, like a bad pregnancy. Like we're talking about nauseous all the way through the pregnancy, muscle pains every single day, like, and to a pain in the abdomen to a point where she would vomit all the time, like all the time throughout her entire pregnancy. And she is traumatized and she's afraid to get pregnant again. Like, and she says that it's so, she hates it because she loves being a mother and she loves her baby, she loves her family, and she wants more children, but she's so afraid of getting pregnant again.
Con razón.
And it's like,
Absolutely.
yeah. Like just hearing
Like
your story, I
that's
also am afraid.
basically that's basically, I mean, evolution, no? Like you make a mistake, you get traumatized, and then you don't do that.
And you
You
don't
know?
do that.
You
Yeah.
don't do that. You like, okay, so my friend got ate by the tiger because we went into the jungle. So I'm
I'm
not gonna
not
go to
going
the
there no more.
jungle so that we can survive. Like, of course, like if it was a painful, traumatic experience for you, of course you wouldn't want to do that again. Why would you go through stress?
Exactly. Why would you do that?
Especially when there are so many orphans in the world.
I know. There are way too many orphans.
There are so many orphans. Like, let's give them a home. They didn't ask to be born.
Neither did any of us, but you know,
Yeah. Like, and they were not taken care of. That's my point.
yes, that's the problem. The problem is that they weren't taken care of. They were neglected,
Exactly.
and that's why they're in the system. Like, that's the problem. And what
Yeah.
about all the thousands of children who are still in families that are neglecting them? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a really important discussion and very
it is.
complicated. Child rearing is not easy. I think giving birth is easier than child rearing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, considering that it's very traumatic for a woman, even then, I feel like child rearing is still more difficult because you're dealing with a person here, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how do you strike the balance between taking care of them, developing their personhood, at the same time not, stifling them? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to strike a balance, and nobody knows the perfect answer to that. I hear so many people having so many opinions. What I usually go with is evidence. Like, have you done research on it? What's the result? What are most people saying? Because recently, so this is a controversial thing that I'm going to say right now, okay?
Okay. Let's do it. Yeah. Give the
Okay.
controversial opinions.
So I don't remember the name of this person, but she is I don't know, some kind of a specialist that came onto a podcast by Jamila Jamil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she's the actress from The Good Place, and she has her own charity, which is called We I Weigh. Um, so yeah, she has her podcast, and this specialist came on, and I saw like a snippet of the video. So she was saying, you know how when a lot of parents tell their children, so this is, I'm paraphrasing her, okay? So
Okay.
she's saying, there are a lot of parents who tell their children, it doesn't matter who you marry, what job you have, how much you earn, whatever. I just want you to be happy. And when I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's a great thing to say. But then she said, And we are thinking, well, this is a great thing to say to our children, but to the but the child, what he or she hears is that, oh, that is another to-do thing in my list. Oh, I have to be happy now. I have to present myself as happy. And I was thinking, not necessarily, you know, like
It
I
depends on the child for sure.
yeah, I mean, like if I am telling my child that I want you to be happy no matter what, well, how am I saying it? Am I being like, I accept you no matter what? Or is it like, you need to be happy, bitch? Like, what is my tone? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, so my controversial opinion is that that's not always true. That's not necessarily true. Because when the whole world is constantly asking you, did you buy a house? Did you buy a car? Did you get married? Did you have children? To have your parents tell you, don't worry about all of that. Because as long as you're happy, I'm happy. As long as you're happy, everything is cool. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's very refreshing. I don't see how that would affect any child. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if your parents told you, I just want you to be happy, that's okay, whatever. Don't worry about what other people say. Would you be like, oh my God, I have to be happy now? Like, I I don't think I would complain. That's all I'm saying. I would be
Yeah.
like, great. It's great to have parents like that. But do you think being happy is a pressure?
I mean,
Would you
it
consider it a
depends. Like,
pressure?
I think it's more of a societal pressure than it is a pressure probably from your parents. Because you do have, there is, like, in society, it's like, but you have a job. Why aren't you happy? You
Mm,
have a house. Why aren't you happy? You're not out in the rain. You're not homeless. Why aren't you happy? It's like, well, because, I can barely afford the house and the food, and I hate the job. So, like, why would I want to be happy?
yeah.
And so there's like like, if you have everything, you're not allowed to be unhappy, you know?
Yes.
And it's like, everybody is allowed to be unhappy. Even like millionaires who have weird millionaire problems that we'll never understand,
Yeah.
they're allowed
So
to be upset about it.
what would you say to your kid? Would you say, I just want you to be happy? Would you say, do this, do that? Like what would you tell your kid? What do you think is like a
I
neutral
don't
thing
know.
to say?
Like, it depends. Like, if the kid is like I suppose that there's like a moment that comes when you have a child where they're like, everybody's telling me that I have to be the president when I grow up, but I don't want to be, or something like that. Then I'll be like, you don't gotta be. If you don't want to be the president, don't be the president.
Yeah.
If you can, like, be an astronaut, or you can write a book about dragons. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to be the president. Like, you don't have to listen to what other people tell you to do. Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know? Do what you want to do, and I'll be there cheering you on, unless it's drugs. Or murdering people, there's a line there. Like, just.
I don't think I wouldn't say like I just want you to be happy because that will make me happy. Like I will
Yeah.
never do this thing, like
Yeah, don't make it
my
conditional.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Like my happiness depends on your happiness. Like I will never do
mm-hmm.
that to my child. I'll just be like, if this makes you happy, do it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do this because you think it's going to make me happy. I will take care of my emotions. My
Uh-huh.
happiness is my responsibility. Your happiness is your responsibility. I
Uh,
think that's the differentiation that I would make. I would be like, if you like doing this, just do it. Um, and there are certain realities of life that we have to go by. Like we do need to have a job, we do need to earn money. I mean, this is a reality that we cannot avoid, unfortunately. It's not like, oh, I don't want to work, so I won't. I mean, so it's
Me
the best.
too, but
Yeah, me too. Like when that happens, let me know,
yeah.
But we do have to work, so to make a, to make the best of a bad situation, it would be do something that you like doing.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think I would give like really practical advice. I would never tell them what they need to be to make me happy. Like, you make yourself happy. If that somehow affects me, that's my problem. I'll deal with it.
Yes, exactly. Like there are times, I won't lie to you, child, imaginary child of mine.
Yes.
There are times where I won't like your decisions.
Yeah.
But that's my problem. And because I love you, I'll either learn to live with it
Or tell you about it, or both.
I'll complain about it to you all the time. It'll be one of those two things.
Yeah.
But nothing I say will make you stop if drugs is what you wanna, if you really wanna be the best drug dealer you can be a pharmacist.
Yeah, exactly. Open a pharmaceutical company,
Yes, it's the same thing. It's
the same thing. It's just legal drugs. That's it.
It's legal drugs, and you make more money.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's going to be, I think it's easier said than done, of course.
Yes, because in the moment, like, who knows what you're gonna say?
Yeah, because I'm thinking about my sister, because, if she dates somebody that I don't like or I don't approve of, it is going to bother me.
Yeah.
But that's not something that I'm gonna impose on her. I'm not gonna be like, fuck you, we are not sisters anymore if you date that guy, or like, you need to break up with him, like, come on, dude. Like, I would say that
very extreme situations. Like,
yeah,
if he's just a bum, my opinion. Like, if he's just a bum, then you're dating a bum, I guess. It's just, don't come complaining to me about it when he's got no money to take you out.
Yeah.
But like, if he's abusing you, I'm gonna say shit.
Yeah, I think I'm very vocal. I would always be like, this is my opinion, and yeah, you may or may not like it. You may or may not take it. That's absolutely up to you. But yeah, you ask me for advice, I give you advice, and then you're like, no, I'm just gonna do whatever I was gonna do. Then don't fucking come back to me and be like, me, and like, no, I'm not there. I'm not there. Exactly. But I don't think we can do the same thing with a child.
Not really. I mean, depends. Like, if the child knows for a fact that they are lactose intolerant and they've been lactose intolerant their entire life, and they know, and they're like, I'm gonna eat this ice cream anyway, you're gonna be like,
you have to clean up after them.
It's like, you're 10 now. Your stomach ache is your problem.
Yeah, it's hard, like, especially when they're younger. Yeah, but I guess once they're 18 and in university, I have nothing to say. But before that, I guess you have to kind of strike a balance between, am I controlling them? Am I disciplining them? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah. What am I doing? Like, what's going on here? Yeah. Like, when with my cousins, I guess. My cousins, they're still young. So, like, the oldest, wow, she's like 16 now. Jesus. So they have like 1,000,001 allergies, right? They can't eat. I think one of them is allergic to rice, and the other one is allergic to like strawberries. I do not think any of them. No, yeah, there's one one of them is allergic to peanuts, but I don't remember which one. So she was. I don't remember if she still is. Anyway, when she was little, we're talking like maybe 5, 6. It was really hard to get her to understand that, allergies are serious things. Like, it's like, you're allergic to peanuts. You cannot eat the candy. You will die.
Yeah.
It's like,
Hard to
and so
explain
it
the
was like,
consequences.
I remember there were so many days that she'd be crying because she wanted to eat it, and she didn't like that every time she grabbed something that she wanted to buy, it, like, the adult would grab it and read it and then be like, no, you can't. Like, it's got peanuts. It's got peanuts. It was made in a place that has peanuts. You can't eat it. And it took like probably maybe like 6 or 7 months before she was like, okay, I can't, like, she gave up and accepted, like, I can't have it, like, I'll die. Like, you'll die. Like, it's like, how will you die? I don't know. You'll probably suffocate. We don't know. But we
Like, you
don't want to
explain
find
to
out.
them. Yeah, you explain to them what suffocation is. They'll be like,
They don't get it. And you're like, it's just bad, okay? It's like,
yeah.
just, you don't want it to happen. It's bad for you.
I think, yeah, exactly. Explaining things to children requires so much patience because they're like, what is suffocation? What is
I know,
death?
you're like,
Like, it
you don't
becomes super
understand words.
philosophical in like 2 minutes. Like, a question
Yes.
about peanuts becomes a question about life and death. And you're like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Like, why am I explaining afterlife to a 2-year-old? Like, what is going on?
Yes, exactly.
So
And then they're like, it's okay if I die, because then I'll go to heaven. You're like, no, it's not. You took the wrong message from the...
heaven is nice. I would like to go visit.
I've been there. It's boring. No. They don't have puppies in heaven. They're only adult dogs, and they don't like children.
Oh, yeah, not fun for children for sure.
No, heaven is not fun for children. They just get recycled immediately.
Recycled. Recycled.
All right. So,
Oh yeah.
my
You
turn.
you tell us another one.
Oh, I want to know if I want to make you mad or or how mad is the question.
Mad.
Okay, mad. Okay, this one then. Am I the asshole for telling my wife that I don't want to look at her boudoir photos?
Okay.
My wife is 2 years older than me. She's 41.
Okay.
And I think she knows that she's been aging. Who hasn't, obviously. Even though she takes reasonably good care of herself, it's pretty stark how she looks and how everybody else in our group of mid to late 30s people look. Don't you hate those people that they just still look good? No.
That don't look good?
That still look good. Like, it's like
Congratulations.
they're like in their 40s and they look like a 20-year-old, and you're like, what?
Wow.
What is this magic?
Yes. Genetic magic.
It's genetic. You can't do anything about it. Some of us just fall apart.
Yep.
She must think I'm not attracted to her either. She has a friend who said she would give my wife a discount if she wanted boudoir photos done. My wife went ahead and did them. Yesterday she surprised me with the results of them, and she hopes this helps. I frankly don't think boudoir photos make her any more or less flattering, and a quick glance at them did nothing for me. She kept trying to get me to take them, and I finally put these pictures on the couch behind us and told her to stop being desperate and that there's other ways to deal with a midlife crisis if that's what she's having. To be honest, I hated how desperate she was acting and knew that the pictures don't do anything for my attraction to her. Am I the asshole?
Wow. Damn, there's so many layers to that story.
So many layers. So many layers.
So let's start with Okay, so the woman wanted to do this photo shoot because,
She
I
feels
mean, for her,
unattractive. Yeah, she feels unattractive is
that's
the
why she wanted to do the photo shoot.
uh-huh.
Hmm. And the main idea of it too was to make to please her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where she went wrong.
Yeah. Like it's everybody like I think this has been said a million and one times on a million and one like romance and love advice things. If you're gonna do something sexy, do it for you.
I
Like,
agree. It
if you
sounds
like already,
counterintuitive, right? It
huh?
sounds counterintuitive,
Yeah, but it's your
but it's not.
confidence. It's like
Yeah.
this is me in something I like.
Mm-hmm.
Witness me like that, you know.
Absolutely.
And if that, and I mean, a longtime partner is gonna be like, yeah, this is
I
great.
completely agree because I have noticed that my boyfriend finds me sexy when I least expect it, you know? And least expect it because I'm being like normal or but he sees me for who I am. You know, he can see me be confident or you know, not confident but like comfortable in my own body. And I think that does something. I don't know. I haven't really asked him directly, but what I have noticed is that I don't have to try that hard. I mean, I will see when I'm 40.
I
You know,
know,
that's
right?
going to be a different story in 10 years, in very soon. Um, but you know, I don't know. I think it's a lot about. I did have like a, you know, I'm getting 30 crisis, but I moved on. I mean, and it's because you have so many things to do. You know, there's always things to do. There are always places to visit and friends to talk to. I guess I don't know. I think, especially as women, I understand that once you hit the 40s, it's like, oh, you're old, you're
Yeah.
unattractive, you need to get injections, you have to, I don't know, get lip injections or Botox injections, you have to do plastic surgery to stay young, to look young. Why? Why would you do that? You are 40, you have so much experience in your life that no 20-year-old will have. The wisdom that you've gained through your experience. Like, flaunt that. Flaunt your wisdom, flaunt your experience, your knowledge. That is your superiority. Aging is a part of life. And I think it hits women harder than men because
Yeah.
men in their 40s are like, yeah, nobody is like, you know, telling me why I don't have children or why I don't have a wife or I mean people do ask them, but it's like they don't bother them, you know?
Yeah, it's not
But
as persistent.
yeah, but women feel bothered and it's not even like direct you know, botheration, if that's a word. Like it's not like, did you have a kid? Did you have a kid? Did you get married? Did you do this? Like it's not like that. It's more like everybody is sending you these, you know, subtexts constantly, like either by doing things on their face, like your 40-year-old friends are doing it, so you feel like, oh, should I do it? Or, you know, there are advertisements that are telling you, oh, use Olay or whatever for your wrinkles, you know? It's like, don't show that you're getting older, you know?
Hmm.
That's wrong, that's bad. Like it's these constant subtexts and, you know, subconscious messages that you're getting, then you need to do something about aging. You cannot age, cannot as a woman. Like you'll be unattractive, you'll be worthless. Because let's say that you are unattractive when you're 40. So what? Is that all you're worth? Isn't that like a moment to kind of step back and be like, why is being attractive so important? Why
Why is a
can't I be?
relationship so important?
Yeah, like did did my husband tell me that I have to be attractive? Okay, what are his ideas? Like, what does he want me to do? And is that something that I'm okay with? Okay, let's talk about that, you know? Like when you've been in a relationship with somebody for a really long time, things can get boring really quickly. That's okay. But then you have to have that conversation. Like, I'm kind of getting tired of the missionary, so let's spice it up. Let's do something else. Um, and you discuss, you talk about it, and you do it instead of like, ooh, I don't know, naked photos would do it. I mean, did you ask your husband if you were doing it for him? That's what I'm saying.
Does he want it?
Does he want it? Like, if he doesn't care, then yeah, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Not saying that she was the asshole, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think the husband could have dealt with it a little bit better instead of being
Yeah.
like, these photos suck, EU. Like, instead of like doing that, maybe he could have been like, you don't need to do this for me, I mean, let's talk about other things that we can do for each other. Like, what can I
Like these are nice. Like these are nice. But I'm not visual.
Yeah, like I'm not feeling it, but of course, maybe we can do something else. Like maybe we can go on a really romantic date. I don't know what kind of person you are, but if I feel like I'm getting bored in a relationship, like which there's a whole story about it. But anyway, if I feel like I want some excitement, let's not say I'm bored, let's say I want some more excitement, then I I would probably like it is more emotional for me than sexual, The sex, it comes kind of automatically for me. It's the emotional stimulation that I need first. So yeah, my boyfriend would definitely have to take me out to my favorite place, order my favorite dish, my favorite wine. Really flatter me. I love compliments. So yeah, when I'm emotionally stimulated, I'm like, I'm getting horny, I mean, it doesn't have to even be a thing. Like I will come up with different things. Because I'm really into it. So without the emotional stimulation, if my boyfriend is like, oh, I'm horny, let's fuck, I'm like, no Siri, no funciona.
Like,
Because yeah,
suck it. No, that didn't work. Try
yeah,
again.
I'm not saying that sex cannot be without emotions. Absolutely. I've had sex with no emotions involved whatsoever. But that was like my early 20s.
Yeah.
But I've had so much, and so many types. It's like I'm fed. I feel fed and satisfied with my life. Now sex for me has to be emotionally stimulating. I want more emotional stimulation now than I needed like in my early 20s. That's how it is. But
I
yeah,
think it's the lack of energy.
it is
That's
definitely the lack of physical energy. So it's like my physical body is there, but yeah, it doesn't get like automatically stimulated anymore. It's more like make more effort, bitch.
You're so lucky. You have no idea. I wish I could turn it off.
Really?
I hate it. But I've always been this way, so I'm just kind of like, I don't know. The engine's always running, I guess.
When my engine, my brain, it's fucking on all the time. Like it can't fucking stop. Um, I think I have lost a little bit of my sex drive because of the ADHD medication that I've been taking.
That is a thing.
Yeah, but I can still have sex and I can still climax, but it's like
it's more effort.
It's more effort. Yeah, like I need more emotional stimulation to have sex, which I honestly am not complaining about. Like I'm not gonna, I like that. I like the fact that I need to be catered to and loved and for me to feel like horny, Like it doesn't like, I don't want to say naturally come. It does, but it's like way less frequent now. But I think it's the medication, not necessarily my aging body.
I mean, a mix of both.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a mix of both because I noticed that drastic change after I started taking my medication. But yeah, the point is ask your boyfriend, ask your girlfriend if you're feeling unattractive. I think it's more like your personal issue. If you feel like, oh, my boyfriend is not attracted to me, you have to really dig deep and be like, why is being attractive so important? If you're especially looking, seeing a therapist, that would be great. That would be a great thing to kind of discuss with your therapist. But I think your boyfriend or girlfriend can also get involved and be like, let's do something that will make you feel attractive. Let's do something. If you cosplay as Julia from Tekken 7, that would be great. And tell me what I can do for you, So it has to be like a two-way street with communications, two-way street, and I think it can work out. I think we just, in relationships, especially, we just assume a lot of things from pop culture, and we think it's always going to work out. But you ask them.
Yes, ask them.
Have you ever done something for your husband that like did not work out? Not necessarily to have sex, but you wanted to like please him, and it was just like, okay, that just didn't work out the way I thought it would.
He's making weird screams outside the door. Like when it comes to things that I know that will make him happy, it's really easy. It's mostly food. So it's like I can be like, you want this, and then it'll be like, or I make a food he really likes, and then he's like, all surprised and shit, and then I'm like, there you go, he's happy. But like we do have like a bit of a snag a lot of the time, because my love language is words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
Words.
Neither is my boyfriend.
Like, he's just not good with words. So I've been leaning more on like acts of service and gifts, because like that's how he shows it. So anytime it happens, I'm like, oh, this is what this means. This is love. Like just because it's not my language doesn't mean it's not love. And it's really, really hard, because your stupid brain is hardwired in such a way that you're like, if they don't tell me that I'm doing amazing and that all my efforts are worth the effort, then I am not loved. But then they give you like candy, and they're like, I went to the store and I saw it and I was like, here, I knew she would like it, and you're like, oh, thank you, and you gotta be like, this is love.
Yeah, you have to remember.
You have to remember, this is love. Like this candy bar is love, and then you eat it, and then you give them half of it, because that's also love.
Yeah. I do recognize acts of service. I mean, that's his love language. Like acts of service and physical touch. For me, acts of service comes three. So it's words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service. What was the other? Oh, no. Yes, okay. Acts of service, quality time, and gifts. So it doesn't matter whether he gives me something or not. So I tend to do that for him, because I always am like telling him how much I love him, how much I appreciate him. So and it's not at the same level, of course, because that's not his love language, and it's more acts of service. So he does more things for me, and I say a lot of things than he does. So it's like that, but it kind of like balances each other out. But it took me a while to kind of understand that, because I thought that I had to be with somebody who had the same love language as I did. I just thought that it had to be that way. Like that was the only way. And then I realized not really. Like when I started talking to my therapist about it, she said, I mean, yeah, it is your choice. What do you want to do? But yeah, I think it's all about respecting the other person's love language and not necessarily.
He stole my soda. That's what he came into the room for. He came into the room to steal my soda.
Oh, well.
I'll get him for that later.
Yeah, so Yeah, I think it's about like how much you want to understand. How much do you
Yeah.
appreciate that? Or is it like, no, it has to be my way or not at all? I
Mm,
just think that's also says a lot about you.
yeah. Like if you can accept that, okay, maybe I'm not going to hear as many words of affirmation as I would like.
No, what happened?
Was you? I just hear this bleh behind me, and it's the dog.
Is he okay?
Yeah, she just burped.
Okay.
She's nasty. You nasty. Anyway, we're like, I'm sure I'm not going to get as the love language that is the highest on my list, but I recognize that what they're doing is
Is
their love
also
language,
mhm,
and it's
is also
and
valid.
it's valid. Like so it's like listening to someone speaking in a very thick accent that is very difficult to understand, but you know that what they're saying is that they care about you and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, I accept, I understand, and I feel it.
Hmm.
It's not easy for my brain to comprehend, but I acknowledge this and accept it as your token of affection.
Yeah. I would
And
say it's practice. It takes,
yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
lot of practice.
yeah, you have to practice a little bit and kind of catch yourself, judging or being resentful.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of personal work. I don't think it has anything to do with the other person. It's
Yeah.
something that you have to work on yourself. Like,
Yeah.
why is this so important that you're going to break a perfectly good relationship?
I heard. I think I read it on a tweet where it was like your love language is the thing that you didn't get enough of when you were a child.
Absolutely.
And I'm like,
Absolutely.
yeah. Like, yeah, yeah.
Totally.
Like my
My,
parents were very much the acts of service types.
and you
So
were like, no,
yeah, it's
words.
like, no, tell me things. I want to hear it. And
Yeah.
I like very rarely was there like, oh, you did so good in stupid grades that are not important.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
I
just
think
like,
my dad was still very, vocal about things. Like, yeah, I love you, and this is great. You're very smart. You're this and that. So he was complimenting me, like not only when I did well, but also other times. Just even when I didn't do well, he would encourage me. That he's like, it's okay. Failure is a part of life, and you're still smart. Don't think that you're not. Sometimes it happens. And so he was very verbal with his feelings and emotions. So it was there,
mhm,
but my mom, nothing,
nothing.
nada, zilch, zero, like absolutely nothing. Like I have never, and I'm not kidding, I'm going to be 30 this February. I have never heard my mom say, I love you, ever. Like not even as a joke or anything. So it's a big deal, And if I ask my mom, like, why didn't you? She'll be like, why do I have to say it? I've done so much for you. Why do I have to say it? That would be the explanation. So I think I'm not a specialist of how to raise your children or parents. I've only been a child and I know only my side of the story. But I think, in my opinion, what makes sense to me is that I think a child needs everything. Like you have to tell them things, you have to do things for them, you have to give them gifts, you have to give them all the language. You have to give
Yes.
them all the different kinds of love that you possibly can, and then they can decide like, oh, this works for me. But they shouldn't be like lacking anything. It shouldn't be like, no, my love language is gift, so I'll just give her stuff and never say that I love her. Like, I think that's a little extreme. It
Yeah.
should be like, let me give her whatever I can, and she'll decide like what works for her, what doesn't. So that
Hmm.
would be like my opinion. But yeah, definitely, it's um, it's definitely something that you didn't get, and that's what you want from your partner.
Yes.
But that's the challenge. Like we have to be adults. Um, and also let ourselves be children sometimes. Like, again, the question, how do you balance? How do you deal with both?
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so we can do another one, or we can do quick fire of the ones that we have. So it would be like we read it and then we just say asshole or not asshole. Just to
Yeah,
like enjoy the
yeah.
story.
Let's do a rapid fire.
All
And
right. You do one and then I'll do one. Because I have one that's really long, but I know you're going to love it.
okay, so I'll just read it and you tell me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Am I the asshole for telling husband we shouldn't let mother-in-law live with us? My husband, so this woman is 44 and her husband is 45. My husband has always been the black sheep of the family. His parents, mother in particular, have never approved of his life choices and always favored his younger brother over him. And no matter what my husband did, they have never approved. My husband went limited contact with his family about a year after we got married, when my mother-in-law demanded that he get a paternity test done on our oldest daughter because she didn't believe that she was his child. They have never met our two youngest children, and my husband and I have no plans to have them meet unless our children choose to do so. My mother-in-law and I do not have a good relationship, and I have not spoken to her in 15 years. Fast forward to last year. My father-in-law passed away, and my mother-in-law is not handling it well. 6 months ago, she fell and is having a hard time living on her own. My brother-in-law called us last week and demanded that my husband take her in because he is too busy to take care of her. Brother-in-law also informed us that mother-in-law has no money aside from her small teaching pension and cannot afford to stay in her house anymore. We asked what happened to the money she received from father-in-law's life insurance, and it was spent. Husband told my brother-in-law we would discuss it and get back to him. I told him that on uncertain terms was she coming here. My husband agreed, but feels guilty because she is his mother and will be homeless if he doesn't take her in. So I asked him about how much his mother cared about him being homeless when she threw him out of the house and he was sleeping in his car for 3 weeks. He said he understood and he doesn't want her here either, but he doesn't want her to be on the streets. I suggested we look into adult living facilities or care homes for seniors that we could move her into, as well as state funding to see if she qualifies. My husband is hesitant because he wants to help his mother, but he also knows that her living with us is just not feasible because of the way she treats him. He called his brother and told him that he didn't think her coming here was a good idea and brought up the suggestion about the senior living home, and he flipped out. He called my husband ungrateful and shamed him for abandoning mother-in-law in her time of need. Now his entire family is calling and texting and calling us cruel. Husband is starting to waffle and keeps saying that we could buy a house with an in-law suite. I told my husband that we aren't terrible, that we are our own family, and she had multiple chances to be a part of our lives but decided to be petty and hateful instead. So am I the asshole for not letting her come live with us?
Not the asshole, not at all. Mother-in-law is the asshole.
Absolutely.
She should be in a home for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure. Be someone else's problem. Okay, let's see. Okay. Am I the asshole for making my husband take over for a day so I can play video games? Hello, Reddit. Long-time lurker, but I felt like you might be able to tell me if I was in the wrong here. I'm a mom of 4. I know that's a lot of kids, but I wouldn't change it. The kids are 10, 9, 6, and 2. I am a stay-at-home mom while my husband works a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Her Saturdays are pretty relaxed. He hangs out with the kids, then goes out with the boys at night. Sunday is church and a family dinner. My weeks are the complete opposite. I don't relax. I am 100% overwhelmed and 150% stressed to the max. My normal day schedule is 5:30, wake up, shower, coffee in silence. 6:30, set out clothes, wake up house. 7:30, cook, tend to 2-year-old. 8 o'clock, eating, make husband's lunch. 8:30, get kids logged on and set up for school. 9 to 11, breakfast cleanup. Help kids with school. Entertain 2-year-old. Light cleaning. Fix snacks. 11 to 12:30, fix lunch. Feed kids. Take kids out to play while tending the garden. 1 to 3, deep clean one room. Entertain kids. 3 to 4, laundry. 4 to 5:30, dinner prep and cooking. 5 to 6, feed everyone. 6 to 7, run errands, after dinner cleanup. 7 to 8, bedtime, snacks, bedtime routine. 8 to 9, get kids in bed. 9 to 10, clean, then sleep. This finally came to a head this last Friday when my husband got so upset with me for complaining that I was tired. I asked him, your reaction is the best. I asked him what he did every day that he's too tired to help out, and maybe that's why I'm exhausted. That I do everything. I haven't had a break since my 2-year-old was born. He told me I didn't need a break, that it's easy to do my job. I ended up screaming that the next day he was tending to the house and kids and that I was locking myself in our room and playing video games all day. True to my word, I refused to unlock the door Saturday or do anything. My mother-in-law called me, pissed that I could do that to my family and that I was the asshole for ignoring my family to play games. I told her that maybe if she had raised her son better, I wouldn't have come to this. My husband is angry and my mother-in-law is angry, and I feel like the asshole.
No, she's not the asshole.
Not the asshole.
You are not an asshole for having time for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The mother-in-law is the asshole. The husband is the asshole.
Yes.
They should be supportive. Because when you were telling me about like everything that she did from 5:30 a.m. to fucking 10 p.m., I was just like exhausted just by listening to it.
Yeah, I know. I was exhausted by the list.
I was like, what? No. She definitely deserves either support, help, break, or all of them.
Exactly.
This is so insensitive of the husband.
Insanely. All right. Your next one.
Okay. Am I the asshole for explaining period to my brother?
All right.
So she is 15 and she has 2 brothers, aged 17 and 12. This happened a few days ago, but I really need a second opinion. I share a bathroom with my brothers, and the other day I accidentally left a box of tampons on the counter instead of putting them away. My younger brother asked me what they were, and I said that they were tampons. Cue him being very confused, and my older brother and I realizing that he knows nothing about any of this stuff. We decided to give him a basic rundown of the female reproductive system, and he seemed okay with it. That night, he mentioned to our parents that we told him about periods, and they got pretty upset. My mom said that he's way too young to be knowing about this and that it was inappropriate for us to be telling him. As it turns out, they're planning on opting him out of sex ed at his school in the spring because he's, in their opinion, too young. I can kind of see where they're coming from. He is their kid after all, and I definitely could have just said that the tampons were feminine products. However, this is something he would have to learn at some point, and that wasn't going to happen if they didn't let him go to sex ed. I'm not really sure. Did we seriously overstep a boundary here? Am I the asshole?
No, that's your sibling. Like, why wouldn't you tell them? How old is the young kid again?
Mm-hmm.
How old is he?
12.
So that's not too young.
Not at all.
No.
She said later, my older brother and I did mandatory sex ed in 5th grade, but my younger brother's was canceled due to the state of the world. We also both did sex ed in 8th grade. I have no idea why they would opt out only him, but it's probably a youngest child thing.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I don't understand the mentality of some parents where they're like, okay, these 2 kids, they can like burn in a fire, but protect this one. Like,
yeah, and it's like not even a big deal. Like,
it's sex ed. You're gonna learn about it eventually.
Yeah, it's not like they told him about sex. You know, they were not like, oh, the penis goes inside the vagina. Like, no, they were just
like, girls have a period.
Yeah.
You're 12. Like, some of the
blood
girls
comes out of people.
are probably doing this.
Yeah, blood comes out of people.
Carry some of these and be the hero. Like,
Yeah,
carry
I mean,
some pads in your backpack and you'll be loved by all of the girls.
yeah, it's not inappropriate at all, in my
No,
opinion.
not at all. It's
Necessary.
necessary. Like, the amount of grown men who don't know, it's astounding. Let's not keep making those.
No, I think she did a great job.
She did great. Did
2
great.
thumbs up for you.
2 thumbs up. Not the asshole. Parents
Not
are
at
the
all.
assholes. All right. This one's long.
Okay.
So sit back and enjoy. It's a
Okay.
ride. Am I the asshole for eating sexy potatoes?
Okay.
It honestly feels ridiculous that I have to post this, but my coworker has been getting onto me about this for weeks now, so I have to ask. My whole life, I've been eating potatoes by microwaving them and biting into them. You know, eating it hot dog style. Just, This is the easiest, most convenient, and intuitive way for me to eat potatoes. Sweet potatoes are regular. I think this is how people in Japan eat them, or at least this is how I was taught by my Japanese parents.
Okay.
However, whenever I go to the grocery store, I always pick out the most easily biteable potatoes, which are generally longer and thinner than most potatoes. So I work in an office of about 30 people. We all typically bring our own lunch and usually just eat it at my desk while doing work. No one has ever commented about how I eat potatoes,
Okay.
but I do eat them quite frequently. Recently, a new person was hired, and she clearly has a problem with the way I eat potatoes. A couple of times, she pulled me aside and asked me that I just eat potatoes a more normal way. I asked her what she meant, and she said I was eating potatoes too suggestively. I was a little shocked because I literally just have my eyes glued to my screen whenever I'm eating and barely pay attention to how I eat. I told her no one else seemed to have a problem with the way I eat potatoes, but she insisted others were just too polite to say anything. I asked a few other coworkers who all were just as confused as me about what she was saying. I figured no one else really had a problem with it. But this happened multiple times. She kept coming to me and asking me to tone down the way I eat, even accusing me of going out of my way to choose sexy potatoes. I've considered bringing them other ways, but this is just the easiest way for me to eat them, and they're honestly delicious. I asked her to maybe just not watch me eat, but apparently that's just not feasible. Unfortunately, she reported me, and now I have a meeting with HR next week. This seems really dumb to me, but am I the asshole for eating sexy potatoes? Edit. Thank you for the gold. And thank you everyone for giving me tips on how to approach HR. I will update later after the meeting. Edit 2. Please stop asking me for videos of me eating potatoes. It's creepy and weird, and also would be extremely boring, and the least sexy thing you'll ever watch. Edit 3. Because I've gotten a ton of comments asking how to microwave a potato, scrub potato thoroughly with sponge to remove dirt. Stab the potato with a fork or knife all over, and then put in the microwave for about 5 minutes, more or less depending on the side of the potato. Flip it over, do the same thing. You tell if it's done, poke it through the center with a knife or fork. You can generally tell how soft it is by stabbing through it. The texture will be relatively intuitive. Make sure to let the potato cool for at least 10 minutes, or it'll be too hot to eat. I never wait 10 minutes, but I'm the one that just is like, I have it, and I still eat it. When you're ready to consume, I usually hold it wrapped around a napkin. I'm sacrilegious, so I eat the skin, but you don't have to. I'll sometimes add butter or with regular potatoes, but normally I just sprinkle some salt as I eat it. Sweet potatoes I just eat as is. Either way, you'll probably need a drink or water or something to drink with it. Update. So, I had a couple of meetings with HR. The first one was on my own yesterday morning, alone with the HR woman. According to her, a coworker had reported me for sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. Not going to lie, after hearing those accusations, I was honestly pretty scared. Sexual harassment is a really serious charge. I was allegedly making lewd gestures while eating, despite repeatedly being asked to stop. I told her exactly what happened, and that I was eating potatoes the same way I always had for the 4 years I've worked in the office. No one else had ever had a problem with this until now. The new coworker, let's call her Karen, approached me, telling me I was eating potatoes inappropriately and told me to eat them another way. I had explained to her that this is how I grew up eating them and would not stop. If it bothered her, she could and should look away. I continued eating potatoes this way. Then, over the next several weeks, she kept complaining about my potatoes every time I ate them this way. As I explained my side, I could tell HR was getting really annoyed. I don't think she believed that this is all there was to it. She pressed for more information. Are you sure you don't do anything to make her believe you're being inappropriate? Are you sure you weren't harassing her, even unintentionally? I told her I never even talked to her unless it's about work or if she approached me first. She tried yet another angle, claiming that the way I ate them, with my hands, was a COVID risk, and that I was putting the safety of the office in jeopardy by eating this way. HR then said if she was so concerned, she was welcome to work from home.
Very good answer.
Okay, hold on.
Very good answer.
As is currently company policy, I work in hardware, so it's harder for me to work from home, but Karen works in support, so it would be really easy for her to work from home. Eventually, Karen had to concede, and she had nothing left. I feel like I'm missing a part. Hold on. I hate when that happens. They're all out of order.
Really?
Just trying to get another angle and just okay. Later, I talked to my coworker who had stopped bringing curry because of Karen. Let's call him Surya.
Okay.
About the problems I had with her. He had been unable to eat his regular Indian lunches in the office because of her. We were both extremely annoyed, and honestly, I just felt extremely uncomfortable being in an office where she was constantly judging Asian people's food. So I decided to file a report with HR, as suggested by many of you. I pointed out how she was harassing Asian people for their food choices, and many of her comments towards me were bordering on sexual harassment. Surya agreed to bring curry for lunch today, and in solidarity, I brought some too, along with my potatoes. Karen didn't comment at all, but she did give us dirty looks and made disgusted faces a few times. I actually got called into a meeting this afternoon with my boss, who is also one of the founders of the company. He confessed that he didn't like Karen either, but that she had multiple complaints about her within the first month of her being hired. She's been there just under 2. And that he had hired her as a favor to his wife because she was his wife's cousin and had lost her job due to COVID. I wonder why they chose to let her go. He apologized to me on her behalf and assured me that he would talk to her. I decided to keep my harassment claim with HR, and I have another meeting tomorrow. We'll see how this goes. Thank you all for your tips and suggestions. I will keep eating sexy potatoes for the foreseeable future.
Well, obviously he's not the asshole. Like he's
Yeah,
obviously not
obviously.
the asshole. But this like sounds very familiar to me. Not because it happened to me per se, but I've heard a lot of these stories because Indian food can be really, let's say, it can overwhelm your senses if you're not used to it. I mean, I grew up in that environment with spices all the time. Like I was sneezing my nose out, but it's just something that I'm super used to now, and no amount of smell, disgusts me. But I mean, it does seem racist more
Like,
than somebody being weird.
here's the piece in the middle that I lost. For some
Hmm.
reason, I ended up at the bottom. Well, at the middle bottom. There's still more. Okay, so it says after in the first meeting with HR, HR thanked me for coming in and told me that she'd get back to me. I think she met with Karen after that, and later in the day, we had a meeting with the three of us. Karen says that I lied about not doing anything to make her uncomfortable. That after the first time she came to me asking me to eat my potatoes differently, I dismissed it as a joke, which, to be fair, I did because which I acknowledged because who wouldn't take it as a joke? When she claimed that after each time she asked me to tone it down, I escalated by choosing increasingly sexy potatoes to eat in front of her. By which point, I'm pretty sure HR was trying not to roll her eyes. I responded by telling Karen I literally give zero thought about her when I bought my potatoes and selected them based on ease of cooking and eating. She accused me of making eye contact with her while I was eating, which I think I did every time she watched me eat, because it's really uncomfortable having someone watch me eat.
Yeah.
Which I explained and told her that I had repeatedly asked her to stop watching me eat. She then pointed out that no one else eats potatoes this way, and the only reason I would do this is to try to be provocative, which I swear to God, HR almost laughed at her. I just showed her a video of Japanese people eating potatoes with their hands and biting into them. HR woman asks me and knows I'm not the type to harass someone or deliberately make a hostile work environment. And at the end, she just said something like, I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. Perhaps it really would be best to look another way while your coworker is eating. Basically trying to politely tell Karen to get her head out of her ass. When Karen tried to turn it around by claiming I was making a hostile work environment by telling other coworkers bad things about her, but
Mm.
literally all I had done was ask others if they were uncomfortable with the way I ate and
Mm-hmm.
explained why. And then we go to, that's where it was that she tried another angle, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, final update. So, I posted a few weeks ago on a different subreddit about a really difficult deal with Karen, coworker, who you can read about it in my profile. TLDR, I eat potatoes hot dog style, holding them in my hands and biting down, which is common in Japan, where my parents are from. For some reason, she was really annoyed by this and claimed I was sexually harassing her by eating potatoes suggestively. Then reported me to HR for supposedly escalating, and she also previously had given another coworker grief about bringing Indian food to the office, and he stopped for a while. I decided to file a counter complaint to HR for cultural insensitivity and sexual
Mm-hmm.
harassment. I was really uncomfortable with her watching me eat and sexualizing it.
Sexual? Oh, because she was sexualizing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna ask,
So
why did he report sexual harassment?
I got a lot of requests for updates, but the original subreddit didn't let me post it, so I got permission from the mods to post it in here, since it really is a fuck you Karen post. Hopefully, the
Mm.
people who requested the updates can see it. So, something I hadn't mentioned in the original post is that I'm a gay woman, which is known
Oh.
in the office. However, I didn't mention this because it wasn't relevant until
Mm-hmm.
now. Karen
Mm-hmm.
lost it the other day when Surya brought a lovely tikka masala. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, tikka masala.
Yeah, I did it to share. He's done this before
I
the
love
pandemic,
it.
and the kitchen is separate from the rest of the office, so you can't
Okay.
really smell anything. microwaved unless you're in the kitchen.
Oh,
She
it's a
said,
great smell.
I bet. She said it was really rude of him to keep bringing curries to the office and that no one confronted him because they were being polite. Most people were enjoying the food he brought. He said in his home country, people really well really well spiced curries were extremely common. People
Yep.
bring them, microwave them in the office and all the time, and it's among some of the most popular takeout food.
Yep.
He had no reason to believe it wouldn't be the same here. Karen snapped back that we weren't in India, but Surya just said he's from London. Karen didn't really have a response for that. Karen confronted me in the parking lot after my HR complaint, complaining that it was to spite her. That I was trying to spite her with the hard-boiled eggs I had eaten at lunch. Even though I'm definitely not the only one who eats them in the office. I guess eggs are now too sexual too. She said my harassment complaint was discriminating against her for being Christian and I was making her deliberately uncomfortable
Oh my
by
God.
throwing my sexuality in her face. But she knew she couldn't say that because she'd be called homophobic. I honestly had no idea she was uncomfortable with gay people, and to be honest, that's not my problem. But she said that my putting a pride sticker on my laptop a few days after she started working there was the start of my escalation. According to her, my behavior was retaliatory to her having a Bible verses on her desk, and here's the kicker. Apparently, I was using my girlfriend, my relatively high-pitched voice, and my eating to get men in the office to lust after me, implying that Japanese Asian women try way too hard to be sexually appealing. I would have gone off on her for being homophobic and racist, with stereotypes that I honestly had never heard of before, but I was tired and told her if my existence was bothering her, that's not my problem and she should just work from home. I also subtly mentioned that maybe this is why she was laid off from her last job. Well, she filed another harassment claim saying I was targeting her for religious discrimination. Like, goddamn, I just want to eat my perfectly innocent food in peace. And somehow it turned into a whole religious and racial war. I told HR what had happened, and Karen claimed I was trying to paint her in a bad light. My boss later talked to me privately and apologized. I think Karen is now working remotely, thank God, since I haven't seen her since last week. If she ever brings up anything about my innocuous eating, my sexual orientation, or my race again, I'll definitely file another complaint with HR. But for now, I think I'm content with eating my sexy potatoes and eggs in peace.
This is so unnecessary. And
I
the
know,
fact that
it's so unnecessary.
Karen victimized herself in this situation is so fucking annoying and so typical of Karens.
Yeah.
Why are Christians like this?
I don't know. Like,
why are Christians like this? Why are they always bothering other people? And then when people clap back, they're like, oh, how dare you? You're attacking me because I'm Christian. Bitch, you just did that. You're gaslighting me now. You're acting as the victim so that you don't have to take accountability and responsibility for the shit that you just made me go through. And being minority in a white majority country can be very intimidating.
mm-hmm.
Being any kind of minority can be very intimidating. So like the fact that Surya was like, okay, she doesn't like curry, so I'm not going to bring curry anymore, is how people usually react. And I'm really glad that she didn't, and she's, stood up for herself, and she was like, stop sexualizing my food and let me fucking eat.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
This was like, I mean, later on when you told us about the racial component in this, then that's when it became clear to me that it is definitely racial, because it was not just with this Japanese woman, it was also with the Indian man. That's definitely a pattern. And if I were the HR, I would have been like, Karen, just shut the fuck up. And if you have a problem, work remotely or you're fired. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have put up with that shit. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like intolerance, racial, uh, sexual, or religious intolerance cannot be like, oh, just don't fight, okay? Like, come on. Like, she's an asshole, yeah, but then I try to understand, she is an asshole. Like, what can, no, 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 no. You have to take action against the asshole. You cannot um, enable the asshole to be an asshole. You cannot reward or accept that behavior as normal. You have
No.
to be like, no, Karen, you cannot talk like that. This is a very normal thing that they're doing. They are eating, they eat differently. Indians eat with their hands with a lot of masala. So do Japanese people. And if you don't like it, don't look at them. Don't be around them. Don't talk to them. But don't be a fucking bitch coming to me and being like, oh, she sexually harassed me by eating potatoes. Like, that's not a fucking thing that is real. That's not a
No,
real
it's
thing.
not. It's not a real thing.
Oh my god, that made me so fucking mad. Oh
I
my
knew
god.
it was gonna make you so mad. I was like, oh yes, this is gonna press all of Shinjini's judgment.
Yeah.
But I think hi Mochi. Yes, I love you. I think it also like it has a little bit of relation with one of the first ones we talked about, which was the dude about his girlfriend with the hair, where
Yeah.
it's like everybody must think like me or else
Yeah.
they're wrong, you know? Are you hungry? Is that why you're bothering me? And and so that's like what a lot of these types of Christians, they have that complex of everybody has to think like me. Like if I think this is inappropriate, then obviously everyone thinks it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
When it's usually not true. Like a tank top is not inappropriate even if
You
you
know,
have big breasts.
this Karen, she's sexually repressed.
Yeah, very likely.
She's
Yeah.
literally sexualizing somebody eating food, eating potatoes. How can that be sexual? It boggles my mind. It's because she is so sexually repressed. People, even when people sneeze, she thinks they're coming.
Yes.
You
Like
know? That's
you know that moan you do when you stretch that does sound
yes.
kind of sexual, but oh you're stretching. Like there's a difference. That
She
she'll be
was
like,
stretching and she turned me on, so it's her fault.
yes. And it's
What
like,
the fuck? I mean, I understand that anything can be made sexual. That is true. But where is the evidence, Show it to us. Like, if you think she's being sexual, take a video, show it to the HR.
uh-huh.
Let the HR decide. Let everybody decide. Is this inappropriate? Is this sexual? Yes, no, vote. Yeah, even after a vote, that person still might be uncomfortable, but then they have to, create that distance to be away, not look, as, rightly said by the poster. Poster? The person who
Yeah, the
posted.
posted. How to eat a baked potato in Japan. How do they eat them? I must see this potato eating.
She would be really disgusted at Indians then, because Indians eat with their hands completely. Like, they would sometimes eat the potato or the egg just like that, especially when we eat biryani. There is an egg, there's a whole boiled egg and a boiled potato in the rice. And we
Ooh.
sometimes take that potato and just like eat it like that. And take the egg, just eat it like that, Not like a hot dog, not like this, but
But
it's a
just
small,
like,
yeah, uh-huh. What happened, Motsi?
I think
¿Qué te pasa, calabaza?
she wants to leave the office, I think. Well, you
Yeah.
wait.
Maybe you can put her on your lap.
Let's see if she wants to. Get up here.
Ah.
Okay. Up. Up. Up.
Ah, there you go. Oh, she just wants a little love. Little leaky love. Oh, 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 oh. So much licking.
Yes, so many kisses. So yeah, like so people be weird,
Yeah, but that was very like, it was just not
It
even,
was too.
it was,
It wasn't necessary at all. And I understand that the boss is probably in a weird position because it's like his wife's cousin, but still she's being a fucking creep.
yeah.
And so it'd be like I feel like it would be very hard to be like, wife, I'm firing your cousin.
Yeah.
She's harassing my employees,
Right.
and I know I'm not going to hear the end of it, but she's going to get fired.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, if I were the HR, I would have taken much stricter action and not like at all gone with this bullshit. Like, absolutely. But I guess people are always trying to please everyone, especially as an HR. I think taking strict action is not ideal HR. It's always being neutral, being the Switzerland of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard. Like, I don't know how HR people can
I guess
like, it's
we
a lot of
are done with the thread. That was enlightening, infuriating, and hilarious at the same time.
Yep, it was all of the things all at once.
Yeah. And I think we did our work of the judge very well. I mean, the hats definitely helped.
They did.
Yeah, I'm glad we did this, and thank you to everybody who's watching and listening. If you like what we do, what we talk about, do support us by following us on different social media channels and, commenting, emailing, sharing, whatever you like to do. We would be really happy.
All of the things. Do all of the things. Do all of those things. Even if you don't like us, feel free to leave a comment because
saying you don't like us.
Saying you don't like it, because that also increases our reach. So it doesn't matter.
Don't tell them.
Oh yeah.
Tell us if you, like us if you like Motsi. Like, who doesn't like dogs?
Yeah.
Right? If you don't like dogs, you're the asshole.
Yeah. It's okay to not like dogs. Just don't be an asshole to dogs, okay? Just because you don't like them.
So you must share this episode, and you must like it, and you must comment, and do all the activities if you like dogs. If you don't, shame on you. Shame on you.
Still do it though.
All right, so I guess that's the end of today's episode. We'll be back pretty soon whenever we feel like it, because why not? And so, as we say at the end of every episode, well, almost every episode, I won't be an asshole to you.
And you won't be an asshole to me. And we'll see everybody next time.
Yes. Bye.
Bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching our video or listening to our podcast on your preferred podcasting app. I just wanted you guys to know that we are currently also on Instagram. You can DM us your questions, comments, or ideas via Instagram. You can also send us an email at starstoriesandlife@gmail.com. It's all one word, starstoriesandlife@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening. See you next time, and wear a mask.